And welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. We are the Dudley Boys of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. We do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week, complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on Wrestle Culture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review AEW Dynamite 300.
300? Is that anything? I tell you what, yesterday, usually I have this, this looks great, something might go wrong. I was overwhelmingly positive feeling-wise about this show. I said that the last time they had a milestone to celebrate, they absolutely smashed it, Spring Breakthrough. I had you got a Young Bucks trios match. Okada Ibushi is going to be something to look at a total minimum. And we are 2 weeks away from an incredibly well-built pay-per-view, a great crowd in an underserved market. I just thought this would be pretty difficult to not be great. I thought this was a near perfect episode of professional wrestling television. I tweeted this, paraphrasing my own tweet. The mega fans will forgive me. Like, you had characters involved in already pretty damn great storylines, like upping the ante, like expressing a total will to win at all costs. Stakes increased. The action throughout was different, excellent. And there were little moments of just pure beaming face entertainment value that I thought were genuinely either really funny or really cathartic, but not so laid on thick that the idea of we've got a massively significant, biggest show in AEW history on the horizon. I thought this was great, capital G, great professional wrestling program. Even though one thing that I wanted to go one way didn't, I still thought it was a triumph.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There was a development early on that could have put me in quite a bad mood with this show, but it went in the opposite direction. Flew by as well.
Yeah.
So, really well, for the stuff that they were wanting to get to on this show, really well put together as an episode of TV. I think it was, 2 weeks ago was Arena Mexico.
Yes.
And then last week,
it was like the one merely above average show in about 6 or 7, 8 weeks.
Yeah, it was more just, this was definitely just one to get through for this one.
Yeah.
And this is obviously why in the way that we can talk about weekly episodics of being flawed, when you get a good episode like this, it's a reminder of why it's nice that you're only ever 7 days away from an episode potentially like this one, like next week's A Go Home. I sense it can't be as good as this one.
No.
They were kind of stacking
Ready
this one
for all in, aren't we now? Basically?
I was ready last week with get to the point, and now I'm like ready this week with bring it on.
Yeah.
Well, let's get straight into it then, because Hangman Page certainly didn't mess about. Storms out to start the show and says he's not wasting everyone's time. He's already said how much this company and title means to him. He'll ride through death for it. And he promises it all in. He'll win the Men's World Championship, freeing it from the briefcase and holding it over his head. That is a vow he will keep with his life. You can wrap a chain around his neck and hang him from the sky, but you'll have to kill him to let this opportunity pass him by. If you think he'll let the Elite, Big Boos, or the Death Riders get involved in this, you're the biggest dumbass in the world. Like all of John Moxley's matches at All In, he knows the interference is coming, so he welcomes it all, and he makes the challenge for the world title match at All In to be Texas Death. And out comes John Moxley with Marine Shafir in the briefcase by his side.
John Moxley. John Moxley. That's John Moxley.
Mox says you want to put all your chips on the table at All In, your life, your health, your career, all on the line for the World Championship in a Texas Death Match? No. You might think you want that, but you don't. You don't want to win. You're kind of safe where you're at, not wanting to wake up Sunday morning as champion. You know, you won the Owen Hart tournament, but it wasn't the highest peak, was it? It was nice, but the top of the mountain is just too much pressure for you. I live in pressure. And while people call themselves the best in the world...
Precious for tires.
That's basic bitch stuff. He didn't say stuff. I'm not going to make more work for myself.
I will.
Moxley will show the whole world at All In what a...
finds a way.
Well, Moxley's going to show the whole world at All In what a world champion looks like. It's something that Page doesn't have inside of him. And he's not going to be able to walk away after the Texas death match, says Mox. Page slaps him in the face. They brawl. Page gets a full mount, and I don't know where he got it from, but he's trying to stab Moxley with a fork. Then Wheeler Yuta shows up and makes the save.
Come on, bro.
Shafir comes in and slaps Page 6 times, I think it was.
The rhythm. Sorry, just to interrupt. I know you're in the. I'm stepping on your dick. I know you get into a rhythm, and it's very irritating when your rhythm is interrupted. I know this. But the rhythm of this slap exchange was like every last one was like bang, like getting like you could see the red mist descending. I know the way she timed it all, I thought was magnificent.
But he doesn't move as she does this, or he doesn't. He sells for it obviously, but he doesn't do anything about it. Yuta picks his ankle. Claudio comes in, tackles him from behind, and Yuta and Claudio beat him down. There's a neutralizer in there, and then they leave to walk out with the conquering Death Riders. But then you see Page crawl over, grab a microphone. Is that the best you got? Send your little neutered lapdog Claudio after me? I'm still standing, bitch. Claudio's like, oh, want some more, do you? Goes to get back in there, but there's Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hubs. and Kazuchika Shibata and Yuta and Claudio.
I know who Powerhouse Hobbs is. Who's Powerhouse Hubs?
There's somebody from Ashton talking about the favorite AEW wrestler.
Yuta and Claudio think better of it. Shafir appears behind Page, though, to clock him with a briefcase, but he blocks it and grabs the case and screams that he has something that Mox wants, demands Texas death, and Moxley takes his top off, grabs the microphone and says, you want it, you got it. He agrees to the stipulation, and Page chucks the briefcase back to Shafir and goes to leave. And he stops on the apron, and then he says, Mox, if you need a reminder that I'm willing to do anything it takes. And then he flips over the top rope and nails Marina Shafir with a buckshot lariat. The crowd can't believe what they're seeing, and the Death Riders are stunned too.
There's a lot to unpack here. I thought this was an incredible angle, an incredible bit of pro wrestling TV. Utterly shocking. I can understand why it would cause offense and why I imagine conversations surrounding this were rather tense, and there might have been a bit of deliberation as to whether or not to do it. I understand this completely. My position on this specific thing, and broadly as I get older, is grown adults have decided to collaborate on something and they've agreed upon it. That I mean, I understand. That's my personal position. I understand why some people would not like to see this sort of thing. From a character perspective, if you want to try and justify it, I guess, this is basically Hangman Page saying, I'm going beyond the pale. I'm going to do the unthinkable. If you think, John Moxley, that you can go on a crime spree and be unconscionable in your actions, and you think I'm too sensitive, or you think I don't have what it takes, that's Moxley's whole bit. This was like a pretty shocking, unbelievably dramatic, effective way of saying you don't know who I am. But I get it. I do get why people watched it and thought, oh, not for me. Again, it's fiction.
Hanger's the only one that calls it the men's world title.
I know.
There's almost like a perfect character choice in him being the one to do this after a year of Shafir playing that China role of nobody gets a shot in, and then when one person, it doesn't age well as an example, but like Stone Cold Steve Austin stunned China. That was the money moment you give to the biggest star. Hangman Page is got I don't know. I feel like his ducks are in a row for him to be the exact guy for this. I appreciate the delicate conversation.
Yeah, right, another way of saying it is Hangman's the only one who can get away with it because he's known. He's known as an IRL nice guy. I mean, we don't know these people at all, right? But he's known as an IRL nice guy, gardener, lowercase, sweetheart. With genuinely decent values from the outside looking in. So I get all of that. The second thing, there's a lot to unpack. The stipulation. This actually came up in a recent Q&A recorded by myself and Michael Hamflett. Can you remember who asked the question?
Can't. No, but it'll be in the podcast, and we do name the people that asked the questions.
Indeed.
Twitter.
So sorry, I should have checked.
I'll see if I can find it, shall I?
I should have checked
this a couple of weeks
this
ago.
Last Friday, I think.
Yeah, if I should have checked this. Apologies. Hopefully, Wilbourn can find it. Someone asked, with it being in Texas and given the importance of the match and the history with the Should it be Texas Death? I, at the time, said no, if only because my general rule of thumb is if you have a perfect match that doesn't require a stipulation to heat it up or otherwise make it more interesting, save a stipulation. You can always rely on a gimmick match to artificially reheat something that's either familiar or not that hot to begin with or whatever. The sequel rule is you escalate the violence, and that's where the stip comes in. So I don't like really how this is going Texas Death, because all of those reasons. I thought if you've got a pure wrestling match sold on the strength of how strong the characters are, how strong the story is, the result that people are desperate to see, keep it that way, keep it pure, keep it nice. On the other hand...
Sorry, just to interject really quickly. Sorry, I know you don't like being interrupted, Sidge, but a legend I've seen around here does timestamps for the videos. I don't know who that is. It's 2 weeks ago, Wilbourn is what it was.
Thank you.
It's the one that's called Booking Sami Zayn's Road to the WWE title, just in case you want to find that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry.
Thank you. A handsome stranger. Yeah. However, I know that Jon Moxley and Hangman Page have got absolutely positively awesome in-ring chemistry with or without a stipulation. What's your problem?
Question from Mr. James.
Mr. James. Mr. James. Thank you, Mr. James, for that. So I know that with or without the
He
stip.
wants a death match. He's Mr. James.
Man.
You know, you like to have a bit.
What am I on the... This feels like the opening segment of a terrible episode of WWE Raw, the amount of times I've been interrupted. No wonder you two tasteless geeks like this bit so much.
Mr. James.
What is this, the opening segment of Raw? Anyway. Mox and Hangman have had great matches without the stip. I think they had the snake bit one first, where Hangman had that terrifying head injury. And then they built up I think they had a second one before the pay-per-view. And that was just quite incredible as a singles match. So while I have no or few doubts about the quality of a Hangman Page, Jon Moxley singles match, irrelevant now. Jon Moxley in 2025 is not what Jon Moxley was in 2022. So maybe, just maybe, it'll help my... I don't know, optimism about the match quality if he's got shortcuts to play with and stuff like that. So, like, on principle, not a big fan of the stip. In execution, it might make the match better and sort of bring Jon Moxley back out to the proper fore.
Let's have the babyface be smart, though, and go, I know interference is coming, whether there's a ref bump or not, so let's just have it out and have Texas Death.
Revolution 23, Texas
Revolution 2023, that awesome Texas Death match.
Yeah. So you can beat him. He knows he can beat him in that specific
Yeah, there's
way
nice
as
lore
well.
to it. You know what annoys me, though? Sorry, I know this is by the by. Is, and I really liked, by the way, the promo exchange. Like, I thought Moxley, I love that. What did he say about the stuff line that you don't want to say to make... That's basic bitch stuff.
Yes, he said...
I like that line.
I live in the pressure. It's too much pressure for you. You can win the Owen Hart tournament, but world title.
Some people call them the best in the world. I think that's basic bitch stuff.
Is that a nice two-pronged attack there? Was he able to have a bit of a shoot dig at CM Punk and a worked one at Bryan Danielson?
Yeah.
As a tease of...
Yeah, a few people say it.
It's like, that's like ahead of potentially teasing him.
Yeah.
You know, if we're going down the bloodline, multiple runnings thing, that puts Danielson in the frame now,
yeah, because he could be the Undertaker, which is a wild, sentence to say out loud. But I had one more thing to say about the stip. I can't remember. I'll just hand over to you.
That's just really strong. I was completely with Sidge when we did that podcast. I didn't feel like it needed it, and I didn't really want it. I was just curious to see what this version of the straight singles match looked like. But as you pointed out, the babyface being the one to acknowledge the inevitability of the interference is it's a further, not endorsement of where we're at with the Death Riders, but a further sort of realization maybe of how this idea, like, time might be very kind to the Death Riders, because if they pay this off, the ends will absolutely justify the means. And when we were talking about this potential stipulation, I said, I think, although the Death Riders only lasted a year, I think the Bloodline comparisons are extremely apt, because people have just completely Men in Black erase the memories of when it was terrible, because so much of it was good in the end, and the build up to the peak and the payoff at WrestleMania 40 was so fantastic that most people can say, well, that was just like 4 flawless years of Roman Reigns as WWE champion if we ignore probably a good 2 where it was like the wheels had fallen off. Like the Death Riders is an abridged version of that, really. Like if this ends on this high that we're all expecting, all in, over time, Cope and the memories of Cope will dissolve, and the feeling that they'd kind of blown it at 6 weeks in, and John Silver with nunchucks and everything, it'll be forgotten in the shadow of, well, you know what, it made Hangman Page and it made All In feel like that big
that moment in Texas
event you have to attend. So yeah,
Darby's rumoured to return now, All In as well.
I can kind of get why they've just been out front with it. So it was always going to work on the night. It might work better for it.
Yeah.
Nice civilized contract signing next week. That's what they need.
Yeah.
We get, it was the Heroes and Villains Superman show thing, so we get a bit of timeless Tony Storm and Rachel Brosnahan.
News to me. I'm nearly 40 years old.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about anything no more.
Out with this loop ski.
Terry Hatcher will always be Lois Lane to me.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Sorry, that's me expressing shock because Sidge, just looking at my newts here, and there's a women's match in the first hour on Dynamite 300.
I should have guessed Moné likes to open.
Yeah.
And as she should.
Yes, it was. The TBS Championship on the line. Mercedes.
Money.
Versus Mina Shirakawa with timeless Tony Storm sat at ringside with, I was going to say eating steak, with a steak, cake and a steak.
Cake and a stick. Yeah.
I've never done surf and turf. Any good?
Oh, what's surf and
Haven't
turf? It's cake and a steak.
No, I'm just saying.
I've never had it, but I want it. If that's what it is.
It's not that.
Surf and turf. You know what that is? It's like it's a play of like where you get surf, seafood, turf, steak.
Yes.
It's like
I might
cows
actually
live
have
on
that,
grass.
I don't
It's one of those where it's like to make your mind up. What wine would you have with that? Come on, let's be classy about this.
Cherry Pepsi Max. You want it?
Distilled.
You asked for classy. Like sort of.
I mean, Pepsi Cherry Max is great, but not with a nice, elegant dining experience.
Oh, no, I don't have them, do I?
You should
Yeah, maybe.
improve your life somewhat.
Sorry, with this surf and turf, can I rip the centre out of a piece of bread, please?
Oh, yeah. Hey, man, when I had the chowder
Oh, yeah?
in the big bread bowl, it was unbelievable. I was like, you are welcome, San Francisco, for my creation.
Anyway, Mina attacks immediately at the bell. Moné bails and suckers Mina Shirakawa in. Mercedes, I think, had some pictures of Storm taped to the bottom of her boots.
I like that.
That she rips off after kicking away at Shirakawa.
Like, basically saying I've got some on the bottom of my shoe.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kick you with it.
Yeah.
Shirakawa trips a leapfrog attempt from Mercedes, does a dance, and rolls Mercedes up for 2. And Moné comes back and slams her down by the hair. Trash talks Tony Storm, and that allows Shirakawa to get back up and hit a Thez press. Moné hits a Meteor out the corner, sends Shirakawa to the floor, and writhes around Tony Storm-esque on the mat, who's just sort of, I don't know, motionless.
Pensive.
Shell-shocked. Not touching that lovely cake and a steak. Anyway, during the break, cake and a steak, and during the break, Mina targets the leg, wrapping Mercedes' leg.
Switching disco all night, this.
Dice.fm. Wraps the leg around the post and targets that as we come back.
How much does it cost switching disco?
Bargain. I can't remember how much it costs, though.
You'd be paying the price.
Don't worry, like Swerve and Nana will be there as well. So. Moné comes back, gets
I'm Mark Henry.
I'm Mark Henry.
Somebody's going to get the tickets. From where is it?
Dice.fm. Moné catches her in the statement maker, but Shirakawa gets out of it and puts another figure 4 on Moné, and they both collapse. Storm just pensively watching, as we say. Mina hits a spinning head scissors off the apron and a tornado DDT off the stairs, but Moné comes back with a spinning kick and a meteor off the apron. They get a 4-arm battle. Shirakawa seems to get the best of it, but Moné tries for a sunset flip, rolls through another Meteora. There's a sunset bomb into the corner and a 4th Meteora for a near fall. Moné Moné goes for a fifth, but Shirakawa rolls through and slams Mercedes' leg down with a dragon screw, goes back to the figure four. Moné gets a rope break. Shirakawa hits a sling blade off the top for 2, goes for the glamorous driver. Moné rolls through, tries for a Moné maker, and Shirakawa counters rolling elbows, buzzsaw kick that just nails Mercedes. Hits the spinning back fist, glamorous driver, but Moné gets the shoulder up right at the last second. She goes for it again. This time Moné hits a backstabber. But Shirakawa no-sells it, hits a sliding kick, but Moné kicks out of 1. She hits a tombstone lung blower, but Mina kicks out. They trade finisher attempts. Shirakawa again goes for the figure 4, but Moné rolls her up. Flash pin, 1, 2, 3. Post-match, she beats down Mina Shirakawa. Storm hits the ring to chase her off and check on Shirakawa. And with her back turned, Mercedes jumps her from behind, nails her with a TBS title, picks up the cake, has a bit of a lick, drinks some champagne and chucks it at Luther.
A quick note on Toni Storm before I give my little review of the match. I suspect there's going to be... We hear from Timeless Toni Storm announced as a segment for next week's Dynamite, during which...
At the very least on Collision, yeah.
Yeah, during which she's going to say, the reason why I was doing what I was doing on Dynamite was this.
Because the stakes were so high. Maybe, I don't know. Because they deliberately kept it kind of obscure and vague, and Excalibur was like basically playing up like, what the hell are you doing? What's going on? She's in that orgasmic trance.
Yeah, like Bully Ray. God, imagine him in that sack. Absolutely horrendous, wouldn't it? Do you think he'd be good at dirty talk though, Bully Ray?
This is about to be the best night of your life.
Devon, get the condoms.
He's got like a foul mouth. Like 1999 ECW Bubba Ray Dudley in the sack is a pretty disgusting prospect.
Do you know?
Take this cock
Do you know?
up your ass.
Just when the hell I'll come. I've come.
Put your lips around it right now. That's the kind of stuff he'd say. Anyway, let's move on from that. We will revisit horny Bully Ray. Yes. Aggressively horny Bully Ray will, I'm sure, become one of our close friends and recurring guests on this podcast. Toni Storm.
Down the strip club with the BSK. Can I come? I just did. Dead man.
Is it... So I'm trying to piece together what the hell was this. Because it was a little bit distracting. She had the steak in front of her and the cake in front of her and the surf and the turf in front of her. And she just wouldn't touch it. She could barely focus on the match. I'm sure she'll explain what was going on next week. My interpretation was she's been saying frequently, let the games begin. And she's enjoying the idea that, oh, I'm going to attack you, or are you going to attack me? She likes living in the performance of the rivalry, you know? Maybe it'll be something like, oh, it's not a game anymore, and I just realized that during this match, watching Mercedes Moné be so good. I don't know. I thought it was an odd choice, but maybe we'll get an explanation. I thought this match was pretty damn tremendous, to be honest. There was 2 minutes where I was a little bit worried because I had a good crowd, and then I thought, oh, is it going to be one of those, like, I talked a lot of late about that WWE hum where you watch a Raw or a SmackDown and it's like, right, okay, well, where's the signatures? Where's the finishers? So I'm just going to sit on my hands until then. There was like 90 seconds of hum and I'm thinking, oh, come on, wake up for this. And then they woke up for it and then they were like pretty remarkably loud and enthusiastic all night long. This match had no right to be as dramatic as it was. And I think what helped is just how much they, at times, quite literally kicked the piss out of each other. I love something that just gets you like neck up or like makes you wince. It's pro wrestling physicality. When Shirakawa nailed that forearm on the back of Mercedes' neck, it's like, Jesus Christ, that looked like it killed. Then kicked her flush in the side of the head. Yeah. Like sometimes a bit of actual or really like a good illusion of pro wrestling violence can just make you think, oh, well, she's kicking her head in. She's going to win. some of these near falls, I thought, this is it. Like, is Shirakawa going to win? Usually when you see these matches, and yes, we have fun with them on the podcast, oh, God, can't really see past Mercedes Moné here. Might put cheeky tenner on Mercedes. Decent odds, I think. Like that feeling evaporated in the throes of this match. Like
my brain's going, surely she can't lose just before All In.
There was like a 5-minute stretch down the final, like the finishing stretch, where I thought, Jesus Christ, this might be Mercedes' best TV match.
Yeah.
Maybe not as good as the Athena, but I thought there was like an urgency and a violence and a quite improbable level of drama to this that I was just kind of in love with. And it's got that peak Mercedes. Like, she's one of those wrestlers. Mercedes has got it. Storm has got it. Obviously, your Ospreays and your Okadas and your Omegas have got it. But in terms of the women's division, Mercedes and Toni Storm have got that. We're getting 2 more minutes, and that wasn't the finish. I had that feeling down the last 5 minutes of this. I thought this was genuinely really remarkable, and I loved the finish as well. Like, especially ahead of what Mercedes is doing in Texas, like having the biggest match of one of her biggest matches in her career, and one of the biggest women's match in AEW history, of Mina Shirakawa, motivated, has kicked the piss out of her to a quite frightening, violent degree, and she's still so good that she just wins. Even if it scans as like a fluke, it's like she just felt invincible, Mercedes Moné here. I thought this was great.
It's funny you mentioned Athena, because this was my favourite Mercedes Moné match since the Athena match. And I wonder if it's because it was in that one was the last time you bought a shock defeat.
Yes.
And I did here, and I wonder if that's why I'm kind of like
there was something more irrational about this one, though. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. But the violence matched it. Mina Shirakawa has been, I don't think this is like particularly negative on her first run, like way more consistent in this run than the last run. Like, I am now in this sort of headspace with me. It'd be patronizing to say like shaking off the rust or getting TV ready or whatever it is, but something about this Mina Shirakawa run, I'm way more invested in the content and the body of these matches, even though knowing she exists as like a setup wrestler at the moment. You know where Mina Shirakawa sits, but she is levels above your standard setup wrestler, especially within the way that AEW books the women's division. Levels above. This is not the only example of a Mina Shirakawa match where you've been like, Jesus Christ, there's a push down the line coming here. She's a contender. She exists in this story, in this like Toni Storm universe, and previously this Mariah May one. But there is way more to do with Mina Shirakawa down the line, and she's wrestling to earn that spot, and it's really cool to watch. And she was already over, so that helps.
Yeah.
So the matches kind of have got this added extra flavour. No, I absolutely love this. This was that kind of... This was sort of perfect as promo for All In, because you can make enough like-for-like comparisons between the way Mina hits hard and the way that she goes for those big hard-hitting moves as well, that Toni Storm will do just the same. So you're getting this idea of how Mercedes will bump for Toni Storm, and you're being given this idea of a structure that you could imagine playing out in front of you. On the cake and steak, the old surf and turf, I had a theory on this. So the first promo battle between the two was quite evocative, I thought. It was, and they haven't really revisited this. It was this...
Toni Storm did on Collision. She did cut a similar promo in the same sort of tenor, but...
I might have missed that, yeah. The bit where they were kind of both saying without saying that WWE was bad for them, and they found themselves as true wrestlers and their true selves, be it Mercedes Moné, the timeless character, whatever. They didn't need to say the specifics, but they were... WWE in the worst version of it was killing them. And here they are now, look at them on another day and another week, this kind of main event's All In, but they're getting the stadium show. It's the biggest women's match. Mercedes saying, best one it's going to be ever. They were using that WWE lore almost, and they're like their darkest days in WWE. And then Mercedes is eating a steak, and Toni Storm, to counter that, has thought, I can meet you there. The games have begun. Is it steak dinner, is it? Right. And you've got this cake as well. Was it Mercedes something match? It was a Mercedes-based cake, wasn't it? It was...
It's a 1000th match.
That was it, yeah. 1000th match. And she'd set this up in a moment thinking, you do steak dinner stuff, well, so can I. And I can meet you at your eye. And then she sits in front of it, and what does she see? She sees a cake. And the cake is the thing most tied to her darkest hour in WWE.
Yeah, she got cream pied in WWE, didn't she?
Yep, you've ruined it. And in that moment, that's where the stoicism comes from, is they're like, I can't play Mercedes Moné's games, actually.
Yeah.
Because what that does, this timeless character, this same woman that's like played an older version of herself, you can be very loose with the timeline with Toni Storm. Timeline Toni Storm, if anything. And I wondered if that was what was happening. And she was saying, I've tried to actually get on your level. And that was a mistake. And we're just going to have to kick each other's ass. Maybe they'll explore that in a promo next week. But it did strike me as odd that it wasn't just a steak dinner. The cake was there and she's suddenly like...
Icing law.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. It's weird, but I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I know we don't do bits on this podcast, but this is genuinely not a bit. I'm going to have to go. You all know why.
Yeah.
It's all fine.
Yeah.
Nothing to be concerned about. I've genuinely got to leave. I'm sincerely apologise. Very unprofessional.
Okay.
I will pass whoever wants the notes.
Do you want to take
It's
the
still rolling. But I will shoot. I genuinely love this show. I did not want it. This is not me.
I take your charger out.
Just firing off. You want to sit here, Sidge?
Yeah, 'cause I need the laptop.
Yeah, I will. No, leave it all there.
Okay.
And, but apologies again. I'll be back.
No worries. Take care.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Wellity.
Wellity. I'm in the charity, and I'm shorter than Wilbourn, so I'm going to try.
What's the win tweet? If it isn't the douchebag brothers or something
What
like
the hell do I do here? Right, okay, so what the hell do I do?
Dynamite.
It's Dynamite. I am going to try and fail spectacularly at covering for Adam Wilbourn. So let's just try and fail.
I'm excited.
Right, okay, so let me just get my notes here. Let's get my notes.
Because I'll have to be more enthusiastic about a couple of these matches now, which I wasn't planning on having to do.
Oh, great. So you...
No, I will do now. Well,
it's fine. You just be honest.
we roll.
Might be honest.
All right, I'll be honest. Thought the trios match blew ass.
So, are you joking?
I know.
Really?
Yeah. But we'll get to it. won't we?
Okay. Well,
Won't we?
I'll see if I can do it word for word, because I can't really remember a Young Bucks Trios match. Thanks, Wilbourn. Jesus Christ. Earlier today, Matthew Jackson surprises Nicholas by buying a limousine filled with new sneakers. He uses the company card, saying this is on Tony Khan's dime. They ride the streets of California, stopping outside their old elementary school. Both rode swings before heading to the next stop. I said the other week, I think it was last week, in fact, that if we're going to take the stipulation, like the one of two stipulations now, as was revealed later on Dynamite, then we need to see the Young Bucks flex their dickhead EVP sort of sway, their flex, their muscle. The idea of, I don't want to see any more of this. Come on, Ospreay and Swerve, could you just take the power from them? This is not quite what I had in mind. I wanted something like, I wanted them to ramp up like the cheap heat, how obnoxious they can be, like, if anything, create some plot holes so I can just think on a meta level, this is a bad storyline, I want to put an end to it. This was the Young Bucks version of saying that, all right, okay, because I don't really care that the Young Bucks are stealing money from the billionaire Tony Khan.
No.
They could do that for, I don't know, the math calc and trig, but at least 1,000 years and he'd never run out of money. So that doesn't bother me at all. So there's no heat to this series of skits that preceded their entrance for the excellent, thank you, Hamflett, trios match later on in the night. However, this is what I was talking about in the intro, where there was just little moments of actual good pro wrestling comedy scattered throughout the show that I think one of my big... not bugbears, but these very action-heavy, where the best wrestled Dynamites are a little bit grabby, a little bit almost easy, because when you've got that roster to play with, like, it is quite easy to just say, oh, here's a trios match involving you, you. Here's a main event involving you, and you go out there, do your thing. And I'm not saying they just put on random bangers, but at times it does feel a tiny little bit like that. So this is good entertainment value, I thought. I love the bit where they go to their elementary school, and Nick Jackson goes, before it's revealed, because you're thinking it's the high school, aren't you? Yeah. He goes, I had my first kiss here. And then he's just to walk away and it says elementary school. And I don't know if it's here or later on in the night. I think it's later on. It says 2 skits, isn't it? Actually, no, even if it's all in one, it doesn't matter. They go to that old house and they go, pretty small this. They're disappointed by it. I love how they are so corrupted by wealth, power, all the rest of it, that in their heart, in their childhood home in which they grew up, they go, too small. A bit boring. They should just go back in the limo.
Yeah.
Like, they give their childhood home where they learned in their sort of primitive backyard fed and the trampoline and the ring that their dad made them to become wrestlers. It's boring this. You were just going right around town.
The DNA of AEW is meaningless now. It's the fruits of their labor, the ugly fruits of their labor.
And they do this backflip from the childhood swings. The idea is also funny of like, look how cool we are.
I can't believe
acting like children.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. Did this, because I'm with you, I liked it without loving it.
Oh, I loved it.
You loved it.
I mean, it was funny as hell, I thought.
I actually thought this needed a bit of Chris Jericho style lay it on much thicker. I think there was more of this.
I wanted to live in this world.
Do you sense that they like had the camera out all day and then for whatever reason half the footage didn't make it back? Like it felt like there was way more to be done with this. And I was like, right, here we go. It's funny you mentioned about like the other ones. Like you could have had this going throughout the whole show. Like the Young Bucks' big, disgusting day out, basically. As you say, in service of it. It wasn't wasted comedy. It was in service of the story. I just thought they were like, it was a bit half-arsed. I was excited for more, and then this was pretty much the extent of it. And I just thought they could have, like, it's wrestling. It can be sledgehammer subtle if you want. And I thought there was more fun to be had that they never really explored.
I wanted more of it. Yeah. I thought what we got was funny. I wanted a bit more. And I thought, like, if the first one was great and they said, oh, God, and, like, maybe Tony Schiavone or, like, Riccaboni or Excalibur could have went, oh, God, I'm looking at the format here. I think they've got 4 more of these to go. It's like, 4 more. And then I could have peppered them throughout the show. No, I'm with you. I thought it was really funny. But my only complaint was didn't get enough. Didn't get enough. Up next, we get MJF accompanied by the Hurt Syndicate versus Brody King versus AR Fox. That piece of crap. Versus Anthony Bowens for the number 2 spot in the men's Casino Gauntlet at All In. I'm just going off Wilbourn's notes here. If they're terrible, blame the notes and not my reading of them. So MJF tries playing off Brody King at the bell with a stack of cash, but King just didn't entertain it at all, throws it down. MJF quickly bails and just does commentary after first hiding behind the Hurt Syndicate. Brody King's a little bit sort of distracted, but then he just decides, well, there's a match to win here. So he mows down Bowens and Fox with crossbodies against the barricade. I got winded just watching them. He looked particularly motivated here. He does that move every week. For whatever reason, these two, I thought, Jesus Christ, going to break someone's rib doing that. Absolutely awesome. Bowens and Fox fight outside. King recovers from what? I don't know, and hits a tope suicida on both until MJF just gets a chair and thinks, right, okay, I should get back in the match now. There's a match to win, and he just senses his opportunity like a little prick that he is. You're going to say something?
No.
Oh, God, I hate doing this job. I absolutely hate hosting it.
I was enjoying it.
It's no one's fault.
So
no one's fault.
You're a hell of a hand.
Anyway. So MJF was clobbered with a chop by King as we return from commercial break. Fox blocks a kick from MJF, backflips out, pokes him in the eye. Bowens makes a save, helps Fox take out MJF, but again, King just steamrolled both over for a complete reset. Fox battled back with a leg sweep on MJF and rolls through a corkscrew brains buster for a 2 count of his own. King hits a discus forearm on Fox, black hole slam on Bowens, and a succession of corner cannonballs. The story of the match basically is Brody King is killing everyone. Anthony Bowens and AR Fox are getting their stuff in, but they've got 2 combined forces here. A gargantuan horse in Brody King and a really sly, clever little cheating bastard in MJF. Flash roller pin on King, got a near fall for MJF, but he went to the chair again. Perfectly legal, Cole. But Brody punched right through it. Thought he'd broken his knuckles. This was absolutely awesome. With everyone stacked in the corner, 1, 2, 3, he hits a triple cannonball, drawing a 2 count. Everyone took turns hitting cutter variations as Fox went up the top rope and hit the 450, but Brody King kicked out. Bowens decks Fox with a mollywop, but MJF was there to hit a hammerlock DDT. King avoided the heat seeker. Caught MJF in a rear naked choke off the apron, drawing parallels with that wonderful finish to, was it Royal Rampage, when he first got Darby Allin and won that Battle Royal, and Darby Allin just sold as if he'd been hanged to death. But MJF collapses to the floor. Bowens attempts to capitalize, planting Fox with the arrival. Tried it on King, who said no. Spikes him with a Gonzo bomb. But AR Fox, a piece of trash, flew in from out of the camera shot to break the count. Great spot there. MJF quickly recovers. Salt of the earth on Fox, who tapped quickly like a little bitch. You tap, bitch. You tap. I thought this was very, very, very good. Not designed to be great. It was designed to be entertaining, get to the point of MJF winning. We see a lot of action fair. These sort of pulsating, quickly work back and forth sequences. AR Fox had a slight stumble that was really sort of distracting, but he recovered and did his usual great. I've never seen that. How does he do this in every single match? Yeah. Sequences or just the way he orders things is always really cool. But MJF's character work and plotting here was just the entertainment value that AEW can lack when they do a four-way or a trios match at times. I had a lot of fun with this and the right result in the end.
I love this. I think this was, outside of the Mercedes and Mina Shirakawa, it's my favourite match on the show. Genuinely. I don't know if I was watching this right through fed eyes or viewing it the way that, say, Triple H would assemble this four-way as opposed to Tony Khan, because I know if I watch this, knowing that MJF's going to win and that AR Fox is going to take the cover, obviously, it could just be, this is how, it'd be like throwing Mark Briscoe in one, apart from last week, where wrestlers are just there to have a good night and show out a bit, but don't get your hopes up for an Anthony Bowens push, or don't get your hopes up for Brody King finally getting to turn all of this momentum that he always seems to build into nothing. For whatever reason, this match had me watching it as if everyone was in there for a specific purpose. And I was starting to believe, not that Brody King would win this match, but that Brody King was winning his push. And there is something.
He looks awesome in particular in this match.
There was a certain way that this was agented that made me think beyond the usual. Well, he's just there to pop the crowd, because he does pop the crowd all the time. Just a way that, like, when he wasn't controlling all of it, the offense of others was centered around him, so that MJF could be this sort of central character of all this, and he knew he was going to win. But Brody King was the one he was kind of supposed to remember from it. That was how I felt this match was agented. So that was quite exciting, because it made it feel different to the usual Brody King multi-man, where it is proper win, lose, or draw, who cares? Look at what Brody King does. And that's a problem, I think.
Yeah.
Likewise, I thought Bowens was an interesting choice here, because this Vital Player stuff isn't clicking. The relationship
feels WWE packaged. I know I'm speaking to the wrong guy about this, but you know what I mean? Like, maybe.
But you can still, when something feels a bit obvious, a bit petrol-y, it does stick out.
Yeah.
And I think this one does. And no Billy Gunn might have helped. I don't know. But like Anthony Bowens just felt like he was sort of shedding all of that a bit and just here to be the wrestler. Maybe it's because we're more used to him in the setting where there's 3 wrestlers around because of tag stuff, and he just felt like he fit.
Sorry to step on your dick. And a really good note. He got pyro and the camera shot panned MJF, and he's like, he's getting pyro.
Yeah.
I was like,
nice
what a
detail,
dickhead he is.
Like, and I'd like to think, because again, if this was the old game ski, Triple H ski, they'd probably be in there for a reason. It wouldn't just be, well, here's the warm bodies for a week. But that's not how Tony Khan books, and that's fine. And these, ultimately, it could amount to nothing. But I just felt like Brody King and Anthony Bowens were people you were supposed to take seriously here. And I wonder what that means coming out the other side of this, because they're presumably going to be in the gauntlet anyway.
Yeah.
It's just they're not going to get
imagine it's like these 8, like these 4, the wrestlers who were in it the previous week, and then maybe go up to 14, 15 with maybe a smattering of surprises in there as well.
And AR Fox being in it means that he gets his spot.
Yeah.
There's a nice bit of all in. I forgive you for now.
Yeah.
I screwed up. Screwing around too much. Don't do it again. Piece of trash.
He sounds a bit like 1998 Rock when I do it like that.
I got your contract here, AR, for the match. You might consider it paperwork. Don't friggin' lose it this time. Don't misplace it.
Anyway, I want to put on, before we get to the post match, which kind of went a long time, I want to put over one more thing. MJF's face in the choke was great, and his swearing when he was like variously mouthing off at Brody King, like a little prick, when he literally cheated his way just to try and get a move on him. He was like giving it the big one, and he swore at AR Fox as well. Yeah. Oh, what the fuck? Excellent stuff. The first of 2 post-match happenings, Mark Briscoe comes out with a shirt in that famous Terry Funk font, wasn't it? Yeah. With MJF as a tiny, and I love the parenthesis here. That's kosher, pickle. So I'm not going to be like offensive to MJF. I'm just going to say he's got a tiny cock. I really like that. That's AEW detail, baby. That's what I really like about it. We get the tiny pickle chants from the crowd. Less amusing for me.
Would you buy the shirt?
You what?
Would you buy the shirt?
I don't buy wrestling t-shirts.
Ah, fair enough.
I'm in my Fat Mac era. So I'll either, when he starts wearing the Hawaiians, because, that's what I do. And it reflects my sunny disposition. Briscoe says, I'm not addressing Lashley, Benjamin, or MVP, but the one who called me a blue-collar bitch last week. I wear blue-collar like a badge of honor, but the bitch comment, I'm going to take that personally. So next week, he challenges MJF to what he describes as a talky talk just between them. Next week, we get talky talk chants. God. You know what I mean? Just why does everything have to be a cute chant?
Just enjoy themselves, don't they?
Yeah. If MJF has a pair of little nuts next to your tiny pickle, you'll meet him in the ring next week. So we'll do this before whatever happens with Jet Speed. What I like about this, and I don't know if it's a deliberate choice, but again, getting those, maybe I'm reaching, bro. And I like how they're just hiding things and, concealing things. And then the reason will become apparent next week. And they invite you to sort of really analyze. This was a proper AEW show, this. I like how he calls it a talky talk with the idea of being, just a little chat, and I'm going to say it in my fun Mark Briscoe way, because this talky talk, which sounds like a cutesy little thing, could get incredibly ugly given what has happened to one of the characters and who the other character is, I think talky talk could rapidly become pretty ironic and bleak, but maybe powerful, maybe effective. What are your thoughts on the Briscoe promo?
I just think they've done a really great job of a very elegant job here of building up a singles match that isn't even a singles match. I love stuff like this.
It will become one. This is going to mutate, I expect.
It will become one, but you would simultaneously put both of these men in the gauntlet while being able to promote it like a singles match because it's 1 versus 2. This is, remember the Jericho and Shawn Michaels bit from the 2003 Rumble?
Yeah.
This idea of Christ, I'm excited about the match, but the first 2 or 3 minutes is just these two, and they hate each other, and there's a perfect setting for them to have their fight. I really like that, and they've done such a good job. You're right, there will be a singles match down the line. There's way more to do, but they've done such a good job of making it feel like a match within a match. And you're right as well, talky talk is clearly obscuring something. Talky talk is there's a bloody blood coming up. There. And how funny, how quickly can it go from funny to just horrifically dark to, right, well, now Mark Briscoe's going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
And that's when MJF doesn't honour the deal. And, look at what the Hurt Syndicate stock in trade is right now.
Yeah. Expect
the worst sort of thing. There's going to be such a feel, it's going to make me sick to my stomach, GR, waiting for the shoe to drop kind of thing. So I'm kind of into that.
AEW is in such rich form now that they are building an awesome personal issue within the body of a Casino Gauntlet match, these are the sort of matches I don't necessarily need to promote much on TV, but they're just, it's kind of...
And not even a hopeful fantasy booking thing of what if someone comes in at number 10 and then someone else comes in at number 30? No, this is 1 and 2. They're fighting.
Yeah.
They're going to have to punch each other.
Yeah.
All in. So...
No, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Less great was the second... happening post the Casino Gauntlet qualifier. Jet Speed hit the ring, quickly hits super kicks and dives onto Lashley and Benjamin. Bailey and Knight have their ribs heavily taped after last week's ass beating, after they rip off the old shirts. Like clockwork, Wilbourn writes. He also writes here, I'm a lanky streak of ginger piss. Don't be so hard on yourself. I don't know why you've written that down, but anyway, I'll just move past. Gain control, quickly beat the crap out of Jet Speed. Again, MVP and MJF take a seat at ringside. MJF's got some of his own money and says, I've got $100 on the Hurt Syndicate. I don't think anyone in the world would take that bet at this point. Lashley and Benjamin leave. Kevin Knight grabs the microphone, says, we're still standing and you haven't finished the job. MVP says, go on, one more time. Benjamin and Lashley hit a powerbomb and Dominator, respectively. They go to leave again, but Bailey and Knight get up again. Lashley and Benjamin continue beating the hell out of them. Benjamin hits a running knee on Knight. Lashley hits another Dominator on Bailey. Knight said they're still alive and said they'll have to learn not just how to hurt, but kill them if you're going to beat us in the presumed match at All in Texas. Knight said Benjamin's mama taught him how to hit like a bitch and challenges him to a match on Collision. I get what they were going for here. I didn't think it looked good at all. This was the one thing on the show where I just thought this is bad. Literally everything else ranged from, honestly, very good to positively awesome. I understand what they were trying to do here. Oh, yeah, we are vastly outmatched in terms of power, strength, and size. You can kick our ass, but we're going to keep getting back up. It almost scanned as like farcical, you know what I mean, in the body of the angle, where it's like, it's not as if I don't expect you to get up and you eventually beat them in the end. At most, I'm expecting like an infinite loop where you just inevitably get your ass kicked and then you get up. And I understand, it wasn't well executed at all, this. The idea, understand, again, I know what they're going for. I just thought it looked a little bit inadvertently funny. And I like it. Speedball has got that dorky vibe. We've talked about it quite a lot. I've never thought of it in terms of damaging his credibility as a pro wrestling character. It's just who he is. His pop taste and pop culture, his wrestling persona. He's a geek who I don't think... He's a dorky, great pro wrestler. He just looked like a geek here, I thought.
Yeah. It was
geeked him out.
It was gutsy, I thought, to basically treble down on last week. Because they would have been aware of the... we don't know, kicking the race feedback that this story got and this angle got. So I didn't mind that they just went for it because it's this. I like seeing things committed to, even when they're potentially bad. I like seeing them committed to, and that's what this was. They are not shying away from the obvious, or at least this is good. They're doing such an effective job of illustrating the difference that it's never been more the story. Yeah. Like the Hurt Syndicate, like. The Outrunners have gotten out on jet speed, really.
Yeah.
But in the build, the Outrunners were deemed way stronger than jet speed. They have somehow taken a team that are far superior than the other challenges the Hurt Syndicate have had and made them look weaker than all those challenges. Yeah. That is actually not bad storytelling because it obscures, as you say, a comeback. The problem is, and I completely agree with you on this, the more I watched them get their ass kicked, the more I wanted to watch them get their ass kicked.
Yeah.
At no point was I interested in a comeback. And I don't know if, like...
This match has to be built around one comeback.
One comeback only that is ultimately unsuccessful. I also think in a terrible turn of events, Knight badly flubbed his lines and ended up making AEW and himself seem sexist. I think the point was here to take a pop at the Shelton's mama stuff from 20 years ago, as if it's like this thing that Shelton doesn't like being brought up.
It might like enrage him into making a rare mistake.
Yes, that felt like the point, and instead just came across like a misogynist, actually. So maybe don't go near it when sometimes the stable that you're feuding with and the company often has those accusations levied their way.
It's wrestling and wrestlers. You can never be too sure.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
You can never be too sure.
Because it was Shelton Benjamin specifically, I was trying to extend that latitude of like, Shelton's mama, but like the Hurt Syndicate there's been some sexist stuff in the past with the Hurt Syndicate, so already there's stuff hanging over them.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Risk you might not want to take. After their adventures, going to the sites of their upbringing. I thought, do you see the bear as well that they had a lot of fun with on commentary? The bear.
Yes.
I thought that bear had Wilbourn wanting to risk it all. I thought he was going to mention that. I'm going to ask him the next time I see him if that is indeed the case. So after their adventures in Cali, the Young Bucks limousine pulls up to the arena, walk out in their ring gear, ready for their match. And it is Konosuke Takeshita and the Young Bucks versus ROH champion Bandido. Totally forgot you had that title. And the Paragon duo of Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. Nicholas Jackson flies in with an arm drag while screeching, Lucha Libre! He's so funny. I love Nicholas Jackson, man. He's just a total dick. Double team backbreaker by the Bucks. At this point, I should mention I'm A, not amazing at recaps, B, reading notes I've myself not written, and C, this is a Young Bucks match, so I need to brew a little coffee for yourself, huh? Treat yourself, baby. The Bucks follow with a flying back elbow on O'Reilly. Strong and O'Reilly hit double teams of their own before Strong missed a baseball slide. 8 and Matthews super kick. See ya! O'Reilly flew in with a running knee off the apron. Nicholas ran in with a kick off the apron. Bandido connects on a dive before finally Takeshita hits a somersault dive onto the pile into the commercial. Strong runs wild with sick kicks, angle slams, backbreakers aplenty. Locomotion forearms on Matthew, who made a blind tag in the process. Nicholas takes turns dishing out a series of kicks before O'Reilly takes him out with a strike combo. Matthews locked in a front chancery, but in a really, really nice sort of, this is the move you do, this is how I counter it. Does so with a rolling Northern Lights, catching Strong, who makes the same mistake everybody else does, with a double suplex, in the words of Gordon Soley. Nice. Bandido back in for a one-handed gorilla press.
And I mean... Folks, where's the lie?
It was indeed that move that I said.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's the best ever used the Bobby Fish buttons. That's good.
Thank you. Cheers. Takeshita meets him with a wild blue thunder bomb for a reset. Bandido at this point, I think it's at this point, tries to charge into Takeshita, who hits like a pop-up power Liger bomb gimmick. The back of this is scary, pretty awesome and violent, and I love it. But at the same time, the back of his head bounces off the apron. That's not how it's meant to happen. No. Hopefully, Bandido's okay. That looked absolutely awesome and sick and reckless. I'm sorry.
Could have just been the motion of the whole thing going 100 miles an hour that created that rather than an actual.
And I'll get to this because before I throw it to you, I'll give my brief thoughts on the match. Like their chemistry is unbelievable. Like they work together so fast. I think they're so instantly comfortable with one another that maybe they just thought, I could do this. Necessarily go that fast. It's electrifying as it
Slow
was.
down.
Slow it down. Not too much, though. This old oak is loving it. Right.
Bit of a twist from Jim.
Yeah, no, he loves it. Well, you know, what is Konosuke Takeshita?
I suppose
He's an athletic big man.
Bill
You know
Watts would
what?
like to-
Bill Watts once told me you can make a lot of money with an athletic big man.
Jim Ross always liked, he wasn't a massive fan of some of the more modern stylings of pro wrestling, but he always enjoyed the work of the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, and Hangman Page.
He did.
So,
Hey, y'all knows where his bread is.
sure does.
Knows where butter.
Buttered with cash.
Strong hits a superflex on Matthew. O'Reilly flies in with a knee on Nicholas. Bandido hit a back flip, fall away slam on Takeshita for 2. Taz loved that in particular. Nicholas recovers, runs wild with a moonsault off the apron on Strong, but Bandido was there to meet him with the X-knee. Bandido signaled for the 21 plex, but a double hip toss by the Bucks led to an incredible indie taker bastard driver on Bandido as Takeshita held on into a super kick wheelbarrow, but Strong and O'Reilly tackled the Bucks to ultimately break the count. Before I forget, what I loved here was the idea, and the Young Bucks have played with this quite often, where they'll do something and then they'll like communicate with each other mid-ring. Yeah. It's like calling a spot. They know the spot. They could do this a million times, but they make it feel like, oh, hang on, we should do this.
Yeah.
I've got this move. It's kind of a bit like yours.
It's one of the best things they do.
I love it so much. That was another great moment of it. Bandido's body gets dragged over to the Paragon corner as Strong and O'Reilly make quick tags and hit a combo before the Bucks ramped up a super kick party, but O'Reilly explodes out with the Nigel Lariat. O'Reilly ultimately aids super kicks and a knockout forearm from Takeshita. It sounds like a goddamn cricket bat. I don't know how he makes this noise, but when Takeshita hits someone with that forearm, it just sounds like that. Oh, God. Oh, it's absolutely class. I'm sorry. I've lost my notes here. Bucks hit the EVP trigger. Takeshita also hit the power drive knee before putting O'Reilly away with raging fire for the win. We'll do match and then post-match. After all that, you didn't like it very much, did you?
Fabulous recap. I enjoyed listening to you talk about it more than I enjoyed watching it.
What's your problem?
I was zoned out a bit, that's all. Like, there was towards the end, they did pull me back in. Like, that stretch that you've like just covered there.
Harry, the Godfather.
The last 3 minutes or so, when everybody was getting the last bits in, I was like, yeah, all right, go on then. I was a little bit arms folded before that. I've never seen. I like.
What have you never seen?
All of this. I've seen everything. Like, I like that they're exploring the Bucks and Takeshita are exploring this unity between them in matches now, because they've already been, like, AEW have already been playing with this, like, Takeshita Okada rivalry.
Yeah.
And I'm really into all the ways in which they've explored this rivalry without actually just bringing the two wrestlers together and saying, I hate you, well, I hate you. They've gone to every other destination to kind of show you that this match is going to happen.
Yeah.
This match is going to kick ass. Like Don Callis, for example. Well, Okada's the best one this week. While the Bucks, meanwhile. So there's so much Okada to Takeshita at the moment in AEW, and that's the AEW booking style I really appreciate as well, because it's not stuff that would necessarily feature in a video package, but it's very subtly drawing all these parallels in comparison, and this who is better, which is what you want for these two. So I did like how they're linked up with him here for the combination moves, for just how slick they were ultimately at tagging it out with him. I think as a sort of contrast to the four-way, which I preferred, I still feel like you could have put in 3 other baby faces and it would have been just as exciting, but just different exciting. Like, I'm not saying any 3 baby faces can do what like a Kyle O'Reilly or a Roderick Strong or a Bandido does. I'm not saying that at all. But I do feel like, how can you say...
A bit random for you, the opponents.
How can you say if you've seen one Young Bucks match, you've seen them all, and by the way, they're all awesome? Do you know what I mean? Like, I have so much faith in the Young Bucks to do out with anybody. They're amazing. It's a skill, it's an art. But I don't necessarily it doesn't always click for me any more than any of the other ones.
I will say, this wasn't the best Young Bucks Trios match ever. If there was one that you sort of...
It wasn't as good as the TV one they had with back end of last year. Oh, God. Ospreay was in it.
They've had loads, man.
They have.
There's loads of them.
There's a Speedball one that was good.
They had the Speedball tag. They've had one with Swerve where Matt Jackson pinned Swerve. That was awesome. I will say that if I'm being, very exacting in my standards of the Young Bucks, there's usually one, how the hell is that not the finish twist in a Young Bucks match? This probably lacked that last layer of, like, how is that, like, that drama of, Jesus Christ, that wasn't even the finish.
I'd be going nuts in the building for this, by the way.
Oh, quite. I was going nuts at home.
Yeah.
But again, I wouldn't give this, like, again, not the best Young Bucks performance of the year or the best Young Bucks Trios match I've ever seen. But, like, the thing is, it's always a minimum of great. And I'll say this as well. Like, I cannot believe I'm going to say this, right? Because realistically, there's no need to cover this brand on the podcast because no one cares. I'm going to have to watch the Supercard. Is it not Supercard? What's this ROH pay-per-view?
I can't remember what it's called.
With the ROH pay-per-view that's happening before, I'm going to have to watch this main event. Bandido and Takeshita's chemistry is out of this goddamn world. We've seen it in a couple of matches now. Obviously, they're building to the ROH World title match. I thought their stuff in Arena Mexico was so awesome that nothing in the subsequent 12-man tag could have followed it. And it's like, oh, I've got 5 more exchanges after this.
If you're not careful, you two's going to get bumped up to AEW.
Yeah. Like, oh, God, because, well, Bandido and Takeshita have gone first. We've got 5 partners each. They're going to have to run through their stuff. I was like, I've seen the best bit.
Yeah.
There's like a telepathy because I don't know if I mentioned it in the notes, but they had this, like, they had the 2-minute moves stalemate before the match began proper. And they like come within a twat hair of like doing the move before it's reversed. Oh, there's the stalemate.
Yeah.
They work together so well that I'm going to have to watch part of a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. I can't believe it.
Is there any chance at all?
The telepathy is just insane.
Is there any chance at all that New Japan and AEW are in lockstep enough that Takeshita wins this G1?
I don't know. Certainly, if he's
has the kind of run that
if he's going there a second time, surely he has to lose a final. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
I mean, the point is, thanks to the working relationship, we don't need Takeshita for a month all the time. You can have him and we can just stay friendly on terms, but I'd at least have him lose the final because the more Takeshita matches you can have, the better. The guy's absolutely insane all the goddamn time. Anything more on this really exciting match that you were somehow bored with? Nah. Okay. In the post-match, Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay hit the ring, attacking the Bucks, but the Bucks they get the hell out of here, and they're sort of like licking their wounds on the entrance ramp. Strickland grabs the microphone, says that, and they asked a question last week. It's been 7 days, and we still do not have an answer. The question being, will you have a match with us where if we win, you're not EVPs anymore, because this stop-start, run-amok stuff where you don't really run amok, it's got to stop. I'm just glad that it's going to be over. Or is it? Because I think they clarified that we don't want to be EVPs. I think people last week might have completely not understood the basic beats of episodic pro wrestling TV. And they said, look, we're not going to be EVPs. It's not, I don't trust Ospreay with power. I thought that was a pretty funny line. Or myself, for that matter. The EVP power should be with the fans and Tony Khan. Ospreay calls them the young cooks. Matthews said they aren't the bosses. They're the EVPs, not them. If they want an answer, the answer is this: hell no. Because what the hell do we get out of this? The Bucks went to leave, motioned to leave, but Ospreay said he has something they'd be interested in. Ospreay goes to Swerve. Swerve's like, what? What are you about to say here? And Ospreay actually says, if the Bucks win, myself and Strickland can't challenge for the world title for a full year. Strickland was pissed. The Young Bucks, conversely, are looking like they are happy as a pig in crap. They accept, but you have to make sure that your actual partner agrees, because he does not look happy with this at all. And Swerve does contemplate it, not for too long. He goes, "Yep, okay, I accept." And the Bucks, I will see you pricks at All In. I love this.
Yeah,
I love this because this time yesterday, I'm going into this match thinking, "Oh, cool, this is cool." It is. That's cool. It's going to be a tag team match of the year contender. The theme of the night is the feeling formally restored. The dark forces, the dark clouds have lifted from AEW, and the babyfaces are going to win everything. And we can just put the company's bad to bed and just simply continue with this mission of everything just being good and being good without being self-conscious about it. What an unbelievable twist this is. It makes so much sense that I can see either finish. One, they just want to dispense with this. Yeah, the Death Riders and the Elite are both saying the company's bad, but we are also at the same time, we're the best wrestle. Personal issues are better at drawing money. Let's just get rid of all of it on one euphoric night. But maybe not, because as people have pointed out, and one of my first impulse thoughts here was, you've got a babyface factory at this point. You've also got Hangman Page presumably winning the title, and you need heel chasers. So what do you do with that, with Ospreay and Swerve? Well, you kind of put them in a blood feud together. Because Swerve might violently attack Ospreay on the back of losing this match. It's your fault. Again, it buys the idea of the world title as everything to these characters, as it should be. The idea that it's taken away from both of them just mutates this sort of, it's a close friendship, but it's becoming more of a competitive rivalry now that they're in the same promotion. That could be a hell of an actual grudge program that will give you great matches, great moments, and basically buy you something substantial outside of the title picture for the next 12 months. On the subject of 12 months, what if, because the year will have passed between All In, it's like, right, okay, you can be in the Owen because the year will have expired by the time of the next All In, so you can be in the Owen, that works. An Owen final between the two wrestlers who've not sniffed the world title could be incredible. Loads of possibilities here. Absolutely loads of them. And there's a stip either way. So basically almost for the sake of it, we need to give the best wrestlers something to do. Tag team match, which is what I was thinking, 3 weeks ago. Now, on like icing on the cake for this incredibly well-built All-In pay-per-view, they've just enhanced this immeasurably.
Massively. Stakes can make good matches great, but in this case, it's making a great match exceptional.
Yeah.
That's what's happening here. I just pretty much echo everything you said about that. I'm like desperate for the Young Bucks to get the win now. Desperate for it. The idea of the feuд between Swerve and Ospreay coming off the back of this. The fact that we've often talked about AEW finding unique ways to keep Will Ospreay away from the world title when he's been the champion elect since the day he arrived. Well, what better way than just putting it in writing, making it official, basically, that Wembley Stadium is the first point at which Will Ospreay can next have a shot at this belt. Amazing. Swerve Strickland not being able to get at it when it's in the hands of Hangman Page is...
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Right, is really something.
Yeah.
Especially a heel-turned Swerve Strickland, if indeed the match doesn't go their way. And then you almost... You know how for Full Gate 2021, when you're coming away from that, Hangman Page is the world champion, and they haven't given away the one-winged angel kick-out, and you're like, God, I got all of that gratification. They haven't delivered this thing they could have given me.
Yeah.
The version of this could be with the Swerve nod that we've all forecast, or the Swerve handshake, or the whatever, the Swerve involvement that we all thought tonight's the night, all in's the night. Well, if they've lost earlier on the card, you don't even need to go there, do you?
You might not even do the Avengers if they lose, because why would Swerve Strickland, a pissed off Swerve Strickland...
What's he got to gain from Hangman winning this title?
Oh, there's some kind of inconceivable twist as part of the show-long storyline. This has made All In so much better, and it was already the second best built AEW pay-per-view ever.
It's a make...
Or one of them.
Is it a make good on one of the most noble failures in AEW history, which is the Cody Rhodes story? Like, I still to this day think that was the move, and had things gone differently and timelines gone differently, there was a multitude of great payoffs to that Cody Rhodes story. This is a far smarter way of doing it.
Yeah.
1 year. Like, I can think of friggin'... like 1 year is everything to a wrestler, but as a wrestling fan, we're going to keep watching. It actually makes good on the thing that you hate the most, which is weekly episodic television.
Yeah.
Because you've got to sit through 52 of them to see what comes of this. Like, do you remember...
I love a self-imposed rule that you stick
Test
to
winning
as
the
well.
immunity battle royal and they just flushed it.
Oh, yeah.
They could have played with that. Like, this man cannot be fired. What can he do in 12 months?
Yeah.
Like, AEW will... they don't put this in place without it having a purpose. And I actually think it's... I made a point a couple of weeks ago that they have potentially speed ran a little bit this bond between Swerve and Ospreay because it's had to feel believable going into this match with the Young Bucks. Does it turn out that it almost doesn't matter how, like...
They're going to kill each other.
Because they've made good friends, Sidge, but they're going to make better enemies.
Yeah.
Like, they've now got the real work happens after all in between these two, and they're going to be bonded in the same way that Hangman and Swerve are. And it's not really about how they were close mates. It's about watching this thing unravel. And even Swerve going like, and you know what I hate the most about this is that I hate myself. Why did I trust any of this with you, you thick bastard?
Yeah.
I knew you were a dumbass, and look what you've done to my career now.
Yeah.
Like, he can be angry at himself for getting in bed with Ospreay for this.
And it's got a similar dynamic to Swerve and Hangman in that who's the heel, who's the babyface. There's a lot of texture to it. It's a bit more complex in that because they realize like the crowd are going to love both these guys. Not one of them could be a true heel, but they'll play with the shades of grey. Like, this is genuinely such an unbelievably great twist on a show that just, I thought, this near perfected episodic wrestling TV.
And if they win, we don't get everything we've just described, but we get the like out front babyface catharsis of the Young Bucks thing being done and dusted.
Yeah.
So it's almost like that's not as appealing a prize as it was before last night, is it? Yeah. However, you've got to remember how much you wanted that to begin with.
Yeah.
So there's no bad finish and there's no bad ending anymore. No. It's just dealing with the consequences of whichever one plays out in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. We get a video of David Cornswet, Nicholas Holt. I don't know who that is either. I've seen his face.
Is he the one from About a Boy?
Yes, I think so.
Nicholas Holt. That name rings a bell.
Yeah. With Kenny Omega and MJF were shown to promote the new Superman movie. Omega got along with Superman as MJF found a common bond with Lex Luthor. I wish they'd said taped before the diverticulitis seeped back out of Kenny Omega. I like how Excalibur was like, that's not how it works, to Don Callis later on, because that kind of undermined maybe the angle and the big return.
And they were just a bit rubbish, weren't they, as well? It's these usual
it's not going to be great, is it? On the subject of Swerve and Ospreay, I understand why they sequenced it this way, because they kind of had to. But they're still in the ring, and they're obviously ring ready. They were ready for the match that just came out earlier to try and get the Young Bucks to prompt them into giving them the match that they desperately want. They go on to quickly and decisively beat Beast Mortos and Dralistico. Look, he did write it down. Mortos didn't wait for his intro, ran to the ring, clobbered Ospreay. Double Hurricane Ranas from Ospreay and Swerve Strickland in response. The synchro is again wonderful. Dralistico is laid out with dueling big boot before Stereo dives connected on the outside. outside. Dralistico, he's always 44 steps ahead. Briefly, it's going like Sid streak in WCW this bit. He's going to be like on a friggin' infinity steps ahead by this time next year. Grabs Nana at ringside, distracting Strickland and Ospreay enough to allow Mortos to fly to the outside with that always incredible tornado. He looks like at least 5 avalanches.
Yeah.
Like different directions. It's absolutely awesome. And then we go to the commercial. When we come back, Strickland kips up with a super kick to rock Mortos and tag Ospreay, who then runs wild with his signature flurry of offense. He does, however, miss a corner charge, allowing Mortos to hit a backstabber, and Dralistico off the top rope for a double stomp. Multi-revolution DDT on Strickland. Apparently that's how many revolutions Seth Rollins has done in WWE, when the correct answer is actually 0. Dralistico follows up with his inexplicable best-in-class Canadian destroyer. It's always awesome on Ospreay, who's then folded with a Mortos spear for an awesome 2 count. Mortos tried a pop-up Samoan drop, but Ospreay counters it into a crucifix bomb. It always looks great. Love how it's the beast Mortos' kryptonite. He always takes an unbelievable signature bump for that. It's not Hamrick level of signature bump, but he always takes it so goddamn well. We then get the Swerve Stomp Stormbreaker combo, which lays out Mortos, as Dralistico was taken out with a Styles Clash House Call combo to end it. What's wild, right? And this might be the first time it's happened in, I'm talking, maybe ever, considering how, like, this wasn't designed to be a great match. I'll get into what I thought the point was and what I got out of it momentarily. So it's just a strange quirk. Is this the first time I can honestly recall? Not that this was a bad match. It just was a bit basic. It didn't really need to exist. This is the Will Ospreay match was the worst match on Dynamite. That sounds really harsh, but you know what I mean? I think it's more of a compliment to Ospreay and how consistently awesome he is than anything else.
It's a high work rate night, wasn't it?
It's just a strange quirk that of all wrestlers ever, one of the best ever, has had one of the worst match on a card.
I mean, I sort of put this 1A, 1B with the last match in terms of work rate maintenance booking. Like when AEW does maintenance booking,
they're showing
there is such a high level of work rate, and there's supposed to be a comparison between, well, here's the Bucks, and now here's the Bucks' opponents, and you're getting them back to back. Have a look at them. Who's got more synergy?
Yeah.
Who are slicker? Who are better? Whatever. Make your minds up.
They're basically planting spots in your head, like the Styles Clash thingy combo, the House Call Styles Clash combo, with the idea being, right, this is what these guys do together. Remember this for All In, so you can then go. You can do that sort of anticipation gasp for the finish, and it doesn't just come out of nowhere. So they're implanting stuff. And look, if nothing else, this match was just a bit of fun, breezy, punchy, just a TV match, not for the sake of it, like we've just discussed, but almost for the sake of it. The whole joy of Swerve and Ospreay coming together, even though it's now tense between them, is they are so cool together. I know that's reductive, but that is what we're going for here. Ospreay, which I missed here, Wilbourn missed it, not me, doing his Sasuke special. Do you see that kid in the front row?
Yeah. Just go
That kid in the front row lost his goddamn mind.
This is wrestling Disneyland, isn't it?
Yeah. And I love that moment because it's like, that's, that's all
about.
of us, and that's what it reflects, So I really enjoyed that, and that's the finish. What did you think?
Just that. I didn't think this was bad, nor amazing, but that's exactly what I thought the last match. You have to do this. You have to do TV matches like
now
this.
that I see the Styles Clash, I'm going to think near fall or the finish.
It's. I don't.
At All in Texas.
I'm not particularly critical of either of them. Without, unlike Will Ospreay, doing backflips for either. It's just this is what you should probably do.
Yeah.
The angle and the sort of the what now exists between them is of way more interest to me than the 2 matches that we had as like setup stuff.
Yeah. Again, they're just planting stuff in your head to gasp and anticipate at All in Texas. Main event time. It is AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada with Don Callis and Lance Archer against Kota Ibushi. Let's do the notes first, and then I'll talk on the preview and then talk on why I'm kind of happy to be a hypocrite who didn't get what he wanted. So Riccaboni brings up the last time they both faced each other was the G1 Climax 2021 final, during which
Raven, what?
there was an enforced stoppage leading to Okada's default victory when Ibushi, sparking a long series of pretty unfortunate and then just gruesome injuries. The first really bad one of which he separated his shoulder as his body started to decline. So Okada hits a drop toe hold into the ring steps. We come back from the break. Ibushi is able to hit a drop kick into a double down. Ibushi recovers first, unleashes a series of kicks before switching to palm strikes, leading to a standing moonsault for 2. Okada responded with a flapjack before applying the money clip. Ibushi escaped from it. Okada then connects with the air raid crash neck breaker. Okada getting signature zero hang time, that sort of levitation that he's somehow capable of. Hits the top rope elbow drop before doing the Rainmaker. Piss off! I can't swear because I'm not very good at beeping. Well, it's actually him who does a technical side in Wilbourn's absence, so blame him for the lack of funny Sidgwick swears. Ibushi, in a great bit of struggle, fights out of a Rainmaker, but Okada was there to hit a shotgun dropkick, launching Ibushi into the corner, smacking the back of his head bad. By which I mean cool, on the bottom turnbuckle. Referee Paul Turner had to back Ibushi off because at this point he emerges from that bottom turnbuckle where Okada's leathering him in what looks like the throat, but he knows where to put it, how to time it perfectly. We get, and I actually buy it. I never thought I'd see the day, and I was genuinely delighted. What do they call it? I don't like the name. There's more cutesy wrestling fanfare.
What was that?
Murder Boy.
Oh, God.
Murder Boy Ibushi, where he goes into that trance. The only wrestler ever currently, that I will permit going to that place, because he can actually go to that place, because there is such a credibility of Kota Ibushi, of all people, losing his mind or just forgetting where he is.
Yeah.
The man gets lost in airports on the reg, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
So if he gets lost in his own head, it's I'll buy that. I'll buy that.
The guy's late for picking me up, but I like that no-selling thing he does. No, I never, ever thought I would see the day where I would actually see this again, let alone buy it.
Buy it.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
I loved it.
I have some doubts on this after the match, which stuck with me all morning.
Yeah.
So,
where am I on my notes? Ibushi starts swinging for the fences. He does this thing where I think the basic gist of this exchange, and I love it every single time, is put your hands up. I'm just going to get my knuckles into you. It's like I'm just going to try and find that fleshy bit of your forearm and just punch at it really hard and violently.
I love his punches. It's element of shoot punching. And what is it? Is it windmilling? When it's like slam dancing sort of thing, where they're just fists.
Yeah.
There's a reckless abandon to it. That Ibushi throws these.
It's got to be a safe way of doing it.
Of course. But the way they hide that with however they do it,
great.
there's just something to it. He really packs a punch.
He does. He absolutely does. Connects with a lariat following that. He then signals that he's motioning to go for the Phoenix Splash, but Okada cuts him off into a super high angle German suplex.
Oh my God.
But he misses another Rainmaker as Ibushi, and that's going to be key in my thoughts about this, as Ibushi hits a high head kick. Ibushi then brings Okada up to the top rope for an avalanche tiger driver that I know I haven't listened to it, and I might not, I suspect, so I haven't listened to this, I'm not ripping him off, I'm just anticipating him saying it. I reckon Alvarez will have the same thought I had in my head watching this if do not replay that. They shoot this avalanche tiger suplex, tiger driver, from such an angle where you can only see Ibushi's back. You cannot see where Okada's head hits. From the original shot angle, it looks like Okada's head has just been drilled against this canvas at this ungodly angle. Informing, I can't recall a near fall as good as this. Genuinely.
No, because it would have been a finish.
In the moment.
Yeah.
So the camera then, the director then cuts to the guy, the camera operator at ringside for the 1, 2, like, what? It's 2.99.
Yeah.
But it isn't, because I've seen 2.999s, and this was better, but it wasn't a 3.
What a time to bring one of those back from Okada.
I know.
What a time to reveal, I've still got this, by the way. I still do these better than almost anybody ever.
This near goddamn fall.
It's its own sales pitch for the Omega match.
The palpitations. Well, that's one of the reasons why I think he should be the one to kick out the one-winged angel.
Yeah,
Not
like this.
it's the best kick out of all time and the most shocking at the same time. I just think it's too cool a moment. Got to do it sometime, Kenny. I can't believe it. That was absolutely awesome. Ibushi kind of... What? Doesn't understand how he hasn't won, but then he's just proceeds straight away to try for the Kamigoye, but both trade near falls. Okada is back to the ropes, which allows him to hit a wild lariat and a missed rainmaker, the intent behind which is absolutely awesome. But he does, however, catch a charging Ibushi with a drop kick before finally connecting on a rainmaker to win it. We'll get to the post-match afterwards, because I don't want to confuse my thoughts. I thought this is unbelievable, you know. I thought this was great, and I know I'm speaking to the wrong person, okay? Particularly because he's Dr. Fed, and he loved the match I'm about to reference, but it's fresh in my memory. I didn't hate this match that I'm about to compare this match to, right? But it was at Night of Champions, WWE's latest PLE, and it was Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. And I'm only mentioning it not to be tribal. I mean, obviously, everyone knows what I like more than I don't.
Being tribal's fun.
Yeah, I know.
People need to be less loser.
People need to grow up, don't they? I watched that match and I saw some reaction to it along the lines of, two professional wrestlers doing a professional wrestling match, which is, you know, a jokey code word way of saying, I've got nothing to say about this, but it was pretty good. And I kind of pushed back on that analysis/meme because there was a lot of finisher spam and signature spam and kick out, kick out, kick out, kick out, kick out. And when we reviewed it, the audio of which, by the way, still available wherever you get your podcasts from if you've missed it, and you're thinking, this podcast was so great, and it didn't go off the rails at all when Wilbourn left. I want more of this. Well, go and listen to the Night of Champions review. It is available right now. Just scroll a little bit past your feeds. I said, I have forgotten at this point, because WWE hammers it, AEW hammers it, every promotion seemingly forever has hammered it. What a pro wrestling match feels like that doesn't rely on at least a half dozen near falls at the finish with signature and finisher kickouts constantly. Thank you, Okada and Ibushi, for reminding me of that. I thought the pacing here, the build, the escalation, the storytelling was pitched to utter perfection. Like I said yesterday on the preview, this should be similar to the Okada Kaito Kiyomiya ass kicking. You know, when he briefly, Okada, pronoun boy, played the gatekeeper of New Japan, where it's like, you're getting bored of me. Oh, there's new people coming up, these new musketeers, and we're doing...
You're trying to get through that gate, 'cause I'm going to smash your head in.
Yeah. And there's people coming from other promotions, and there's these new musketeers, and Okada's time is over, and everyone's a bit bored of Okada. Well, I'm not, Doug! And he just starts kicking the crap out of people. I love that little run that he went on before he decided to make the money as he should.
Yes.
I kind of wanted to see...
It's storyline sense why he did no jobs on his way out the old territory.
Indeed.
Good
It's funny.
He's
He's a fun guy, and I genuinely love Okada, and this is yet more evidence of it. I thought the match should go like that because, as it turns out, I vastly underestimated the extent to which Ibushi's back. It's not 2018, 2019. But this gave me a renewed appreciation for both Kota Ibushi and Kazuchika Okada, because the reason why I didn't want to see the match play out like this, where it's quite competitive, it's shorter than a New Japan match, I just didn't want to be reminded of, oh, well, these two were better once upon a time.
Yeah.
In fact, this match was so well done and so dramatic and so like kind of understated that it reminded me, with like genuine joy in my heart, I loved watching this. What they have is a timeless brilliance. They have this ultimate craftsman's ability to put something wonderful together. It's not as high octane. It's not as hard hitting. It's not as complex. It's not as long. They did an abbreviated version, a TV-sized version of a New Japan classic that didn't feel like this kind of sad attempt to cling on to the glory years.
Yeah.
And I had, again, just that renewed appreciation of you don't need to do the million near falls. I love how they've tried to pretend that the Rainmaker is as powerful as it once was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he never lets people kick out of it. I think that's been really strong. It started to be meaningless.
Yeah.
And again, like, this just conjured something within me, man. Like, it made me realize these are two master craftsmen who don't need to do a million things to get a reaction. This made me realize, that New Japan's main event style with the million reversals and the 10, 15, 20 extra minutes wasn't that necessary. Electrifying in the moment, but how often am I going to go back there? Did you need to do it? On the back of this, no. I thought this was such elegantly paced, well-told action. And the reason why I think I loved it so much, there was hardly any... There's not one finisher kick out here. Was there?
No, not that I can think of.
Not one finisher kick
No,
out?
there was counters before.
Counters. No finisher kick out.
And like Ibushi's kill shot wasn't technically a finisher, so that's how you get away with that.
Minimal signature kickouts. I think there was only about really 4, 5, 6 near falls to begin with here. And the reason why you should be more disciplined with your near falls, with your kickouts, because it doesn't matter to me, numbnuts Michael Cole, I will break your ass in half, how much you scream and pretend that it's crazy. Not a single near fall in that Cody-Randy match got me as much as this Avalanche Tiger Driver. I honestly thought this was wonderful. And I will say, if Ibushi was Ibushi in 2022 and beyond never happened, I'd think, that was, a little bit less exciting than I would expect from these two. I think the measured expectations helped it enormously, I will say that. But Kota Ibushi, we got Kota Ibushi returning to form before we got GTA 6. Well, I'd never thought I'd see the day.
You've given me the segue here because I was worried that you'd done such an effective job of kind of romanticizing what all of this was that I wouldn't really have a leg to stand on with the point I'm going to make. I really enjoyed this match. This was really, same as you, there was certain...
It was elegant, this.
Yeah, certain flashbacks, but it was rejigged in a way that I was just really prone to enjoying this. Like, if you were going to take a New Japan match and somehow try and TV time it, I think I would want to watch this one. I actually think I would trust this more than, say, for example, asking a Kenny or an Ospreay to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that there's certain stages on a pay-per-view that are just built better for the way they want to structure their matches. I had a bit of an existential crisis watching this about Kota Ibushi. Like, try this one on for Sausage. Are we the problem with Kota Ibushi? Because...
Not for me, I like him.
Well, right. So for years and years and years, I don't want to veer into safety police here because I know that opens a can of worms and I don't mean to do this. For years and years and years, he pushed the limits of that New Japan style, a style that has been known to shorten careers aggressively. And just continue to push.
Look at Naito. I still love him, but look at Kenny. Look at Kota. Even Tana, who never really flirted with it this much, is broken.
It pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And Kota Ibushi, the more he moved up the card, the more he moved up in profile and status, the more he continued to push and push himself. And we almost, as a collective fan base, had a bit of fun with it. Being like, that wacky Ibushi just doesn't give a damn. And he really didn't give a damn.
He didn't give a damn.
And then what we got as a result of him not giving a damn was this just disastrous breaking down of a person's body. And it all came as a result of him not giving a damn, which we never really said. There was a point, I think, with the Naito bump on the apron where we went, all right, you could maybe give something over damn, but we only whispered it because it was like, how much is he going to not give a damn? And then we keep watching, and then he sort of adds extra elements to his game, and he becomes this complete package that could be the IWGP champion and could be somebody that New Japan could lead with.
I mean, the ace, that's how much of a star he was. That's
all
how
of that,
great
right?
he was.
That's how much we're kind of gassing him up to that point. And then things go badly wrong. He suffers some of the consequences physically of that run where we've gassed him up and gassed him up and gassed him up.
All of the consequences.
Every single one of them. And there we all were, having gassed him up into that spot, and then his body goes wrong repeatedly, and we're like, get the hell off my screen, you loser.
Yeah.
Having gassed him up all the way, right? And then he does go away, because his performances are so, whatever par is for Kota Ibushi at this point, they're so below par, we're just like, you disgusting freak. How dare you, right? So he goes away for a long time, and he recovers properly. And then we've had 2 matches where it's like, kind of back on the old Ibushi hype train. Let's start gassing him up. Gas. Like, is there a bit of this reminded me of how I felt when there was a Jeff Hardy element to this, where it was like, it's getting me kind of want to gas him up again. And I know what happens when I gas up Jeff Hardy is like, oh, yeah, this industry and him, there is a big problem that exists in the middle of this that where, like, whether it's body, mind, whatever, it can't, like, it's a cycle that repeats, a different kind of cycle.
Kota Ibushi is responsible for his own actions.
And that's why I don't want it to be a safety police thing. But I already felt like 2 matches in, I'm watching like, yeah, let me get yourself on that apron, kid.
Yeah,
let's see what happens on that apron. And I just felt like myself being part of a problem rather than a sort of...
like, just enjoy the escapism on the TV, buddy.
And that's the point. I wasn't escaping. I was like, you get on that neck on that apron and let's have a conversation.
I get it to an extent. I actually remember writing an article about how New Japan, like, this is bound to happen.
Yeah.
I remember writing it. It was on the back of that Naito Ibushi apron neck bump. Like, you need to heed the lessons of the past.
And they wrapped a series around it.
Of, like, the All Japan Pro Wrestling. Yeah. About that series. Like, Ibushi could still, I just didn't need the apron stuff or that like, heavy neck stuff that he was like intent on doing. It was gross. What I liked about this, I didn't have any such existential crisis at all. He's on this evidence. It might have been like, it's an Okada match. It always slow builds, and this was a really good version of it. He seemed like he wanted to do it properly this time. And
this was maybe the best paced Okada style match in AEW on TV, especially
on TV.
It's a hard circle square.
Certainly on TV. He's had great ones with Ospreay and Pac on pay-per-view. This is his best singles match on TV, I think, by far. This led me to believe that it's following on from Kota Ibushi actually taking the time, not rushing it, he's actually seemed to listen to his body and improve his physique. And this match seemed consistent with a new, more mature, head on his shoulders Kota Ibushi, who saves his big spots for when they properly count and can sort of evolve into a more elegant TV worker who's more understated. I had a fabulous time with this. I didn't get any of that at all. If anything, I had the opposite of, God, genuinely, like, these are two masters of the craft of making those big moments. And it was just a flat back from a top rope. You've seen it in every match since the 1970s or even beyond. There was a flat back bump from the top rope that was built towards such the height of escalation in the match. The camera angle did such a great job with it where you thought, Christ almighty, that was reckless. It wasn't.
No.
It wasn't. It was just a well-executed, kind of by-the-numbers move that was just ordered in such a way that made it feel like the transgressive thrill of old. Loved it. Did you get to the post-match?
Yeah.
So, post-match, Okada, joined by Rocky Romero, who helps Callis and Lance Archer kick the crap out of Ibushi. Archer was about to deliver a choke slam when I hear the battle cry. Songs from the big chair that I'm in now that Wilbourn's gone away.
That's good stuff.
It's all good stuff. It's all good stuff. Kenny Omega's music
I had no
hits.
tears or fears when I heard this music as opposed to his crap.
Thank you. Kenny Omega's. I like it for the main.
I know you do.
Yeah, I like everything about Kenny Omega. I'm a mark. And the next time I criticize him, I'll probably do like a 50-minute preamble into why he's good. He runs out with a chair in hand. Trent Beretta appears, tries to hit Omega from behind with a baton, the same injury that made the diverticulitis come back out, in the words in the weird mind of Don Callis. You can smell it. That's what he said, isn't it?
It's wrestling chloroform.
Yeah.
What's that smell? I think it's diverticulitis coming out.
You can smell it.
Coming out of your
But
mouth.
Ibushi cuts him off, leading to a wonderful assisted German suplex. Trent's bump, by the way.
So great.
It's so good. He's like an accordion out there.
Just sat in it. Sat in the bump.
Yeah.
Like legs and arms all over the place. Like knowing the camera might be on his face. Didn't open his eyes. Neck sideways.
Yeah.
God.
He tweeted afterwards what happened.
Yeah. Like,
Can you imagine him just still sat like that backstage? You know what I mean?
The people leaving the building.
Yeah, he's still like that. Absolutely
Gotta give him
awesome.
credit. That was good.
Reluctant to do it because he hates him.
Yep.
Golden Lovers hook to end the show. I expect next week's ending won't be quite so nice, but you'll be up for a little bit of like heat next week. This is the perfect time to do a really beautiful moment. Fantastic, near perfect edition of AEW Dynamite as AEW finally starts to flick the power button back on, in my opinion. Switching happened yet, But we'll see. I'm going to give it 2 months after All In.
Oh, all right.
I'm going to give it 2 months after All In before giving my ultimate declaration. Because after All In, you kind of promise, well, the Death Riders are going.
Mm-hmm.
The Elite might disband. Nothing after this can possibly go wrong.
Could you imagine the first C2 that isn't in a just really like this for a bit?
Yeah.
Like, imagine it's like, you know how you're loving this? Now
Sorry,
here's a
guys, we kind of blew it. Here's a G1. Enjoy.
Eat your wrestling.
Eat your wrestling. I mean, it was clever as a pitch, but that's why it existed. Anyway, do you think the power is back? Let us know in the comments below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Whilst you're there, you can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
You can follow me at Sidgwick. You can follow our beautiful producer, Adam Nicholas, at
It's Adam Nicholas.
And if you want more podcasts, well, you're kind of out of luck this afternoon, but we'll be back tomorrow to preview WWE SmackDown. We might have a little daily discourse for that ass, but there might be some scheduling issues there. Wrestle Culture, I imagine, alongside Meat, will be back on the menu. Don't forget to like and subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Again, thank you to Hamflett for joining me. Thank you, Nicholas, for producing me. Thank you very much for watching. Come listening, and we will see you soon.